Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. We're on the ladder, but something slightly different. This is going to be a cast where we try and help some lower rated players learn the game better and improve their play. So I thought it might be interesting to do a few videos like this. So if you are a lower rated player, really any rating to be honest, less than say up to like 1500 or whatever, that'd be fine. Uh, Even higher rate if you really want. But and I'll cast and try and give you some tips, and hopefully everyone watching can learn something. So we have ParchedNoob. I'm going to stay in his perspective for this game and not look at the other players, so we only see what ParchedNoob sees. Now he does have about 100 rating on his opponent, and he's playing Aeon on Arctic Refuge against a Cybran. So Cybran's quite good on Arctic Refuge. These mechs is on the side, quite exposed, and Mantis obviously much better rating those than the very slow Auroras. Auroras are going to be better in those larger battles though than the Mantis generally, but it's often the case that a lower player doesn't react in time to micro their Aurora back, but in larger groups that's actually not such a big problem. Aurora should still win basically, unless there's a nice mix of Medusa and stuff in there and things like that. So ParchedNoob, always a good sign to see lower players try stuff like this, because even if say a lower player doesn't actually make perfect use of all this extra reclaim, there will come a time when this reclaim is going to make a difference for them. Maybe it won't be in this game, maybe they'll misuse the reclaim, maybe they'll have too many pigeons anyway, but actually it does look like he's using it right now. So even if he didn't use it, it's a good sign that he's doing it now, because it means he'll do it later and will help him in the long run. And he's expanding, making only engineers at his first factory. So that's a problem first. You definitely need to have tanks mixed in at the beginning, especially a map like this where, see, the mechs, you're sending engineers in every direction, so they're all vulnerable to being attacked. Now we have a bomber coming up. Small note here. Sending a scout first is okay. I think building the bomber first is better. You get it out faster, and the scout builds very quickly, and so and it's much faster than the bomber. So if you build the bomber first, it will get the engineers faster, and you'll still have the scout in time to see your targets. So you could actually here lose a lot of engineers to labs or even mantis. Oh, no, no, no. That's a problem. There is an anti-air in mid and took out the bomber. Don't feel too bad about that. I believe I just saw a 2000 rated player do the same thing not too long ago. And we have a T2 max. Well, definitely not in agreement here with a T2 max on this map. It's not a very big map. It's not a... What is this unit? It's a very slow unit, it seems. It's not a big map. It's a map where you need to take this mid mass quite quickly. So you're gonna be in a battle quickly on this map. So I think this is a problem, and we also see actually a lot of power stalling, and this is because, well, we have air. Well, it's actually a mantis looking to raid. So it's right now that you need to be pausing air and queuing up more pigeons. After the initial build order, there were no engineers given orders to build power. So when you're just organizing your builds or not your builds, but how you're constructing your base, you have two basic sets of engineers. So you have the engineers who are building power, and you have the engineers who are building factories. And that's basically the two sets, and you adjust how many engineers in each set according to your economy. So then the other engineers are basically expanding or assisting factories or getting reclaimed. But the main two in your base are the factory engineers and the power engineers. So definitely need to immediately pause. This is actually a really awful stall right now. It's hard to watch. So so factories, you can see here, they drain 35 energy to build this factory from this engineer. So you need to stop doing that. You're building a PGen here. A lot of PGens queued up with the ACU. You also have one engineer building power here, and you have two engineers building power here. So what you need to do is just concentrate your build power so that the power is built as fast as possible. Because you can see building a PGen for an engineer costs 35 or 30 power. Building a factory is 35 power drain. And this guy is building this so slow. It's not good. So we do have air paused, but we have just lost air. So that's another problem. Another problem also, we've been raided here. We've lost some engineers, and we're lacking map control. So the map control is going to be a problem because we need some more mass. So what you want to do at these factories is quite quickly make some arty. We can see here's an arty. And we want to re-expand as fast as possible. So one of the key ideas is, how do I get every mechs on my half of the map as fast as possible? And that's really your goal at the start of the game. That's number one goal. How do I get all of the mass that I should get as fast as possible? And often you'll see games won basically just on that premise, that you expand faster than your opponent, you therefore have more mass income, and you just win out based on that. You just execute a similar strategy to them and you have more mass, so you win. So right now you're not expanding to the sides, you're not expanding to these mexes, and you are taking mid with these arties. That's good. Now you should be, as you're doing this, immediately sending your ACU. And these trucks give reclaim, the buildings give reclaim, and the PGens give quite a lot of reclaim. Also, the PDs give reclaim. So you want to be focusing with most of your army in mid, send your ACU, suck up all that reclaim, and you're going to be in a good spot. And then after that, then you need to, well, securing mid is good. There's also 4 mexes here, but you also need to make sure you don't lose all map control here. So you can see some tree reclaim. That's pretty good. That's fine. We have tree reclaim up here. But ultimately, those things are secondary goals. Now you are getting a lot of reclaim from it. That's fair enough. But the primary goal is the mid reclaim. This stuff is nice, and you should do this, but don't do it at the expense of the main focus of the early game, which is as fast expansion as you can manage. And this mid reclaim for this specific map is extremely important. So you're doing a lot of ecoing, so that's going to make up in terms of mass income for a lack of map control, but ultimately map control is better than mexes in many scenarios. So you're defending some raid here. Simple attack move is quite good with Aurora. But you are lacking vision here. You also want to avoid building storages after the mechs. It may just be a misclick if you sometimes happens. So moving into mid, killing some buildings, getting some reclaim, and you see that he's expanded here. There's a factory up, there's mexes. You retreat your army to bring a scout over. That's nice. Auroras are basically dead meat if they don't have a scout with them. Oh, this Mex got killed somehow? I'm not sure what happened there. Honestly, not sure what happened. But, okay. So, you're still building more factories. And now you need to spend more mass. So you need more factories again. Perhaps at this stage... Well, at this stage you need to scout and see what your opponent has. It's likely your opponent has a lot more units than you, considering the lack of map control you have and the... Ooh. Yes, now you look overhead and you see a lot of factories in a lot of places. So this looks very bad for you right now. You got the mid-mass, and there still is some here, but you have very little radar range here. So at any point... an army, I'm not going to switch perspective, but I suspect there is a large army somewhere nearby which could run over your ACU very easily and end the game. And overall, I'm pretty confident, well, that your opponent has a lot more units. We have a T2 Mex in his base as well, so he's trying to be careful not to just lose in the tech war. I have 2 T2 Maxes, 3 in fact. I have this is an okay eco balance, so this is a kind of eco balance where you can make the gun right now. You have some overflow, you have some mass in the bank, so you can just retreat back here and make a gun upgrade. That would be good in this scenario. You can see there's a lot of T1 factories. You haven't seen a T2 factory, although you have limited scouting. But your opponent could be doing a lot of things to really screw you over here. So one, he could be using air. You did mix in some anti-airs, which is quite good, but not very many. So there's still plenty of damage which could be done to you by air, especially if you went T2 air. You'd be in big trouble. And you should also think about getting some T2 tech now and even a couple minutes ago. You can see here what happens to Aurora. They get caught. They're getting kills, but once the Aurora, well, once the Mantis and Medusa get in, it's quite bad for them. So you want to be quite regularly oh, looks like you win air here, which is pretty good. So you're sending scouts out, you want to see what's going on. So you see what's happening. There's a lot of T1 factories all over the place. 1 T2 mechs, but mostly it's T1 land spam. So you're Aeon. I mean, what I'd be thinking right now, if I'm in this scenario, which I really hope my gameplay would never lead me to be in this scenario, but okay, we have sensors. Sensors is a very good upgrade. It's extremely cheap. You can see here 350 mass, 5k power, almost no cost at all, and it gives you massive vision and omni as well. It's kind of OP, probably kind of is, to be honest. It costs so little. So that's a good upgrade to get. You need to be thinking tech-wise. So you're making T2 mexes. The problem is you have no TMD. You can't even make TMD. You don't have tech on anything. So a TML would instantly kill you. I can't actually show you the range, but I mean a TML here could kill everything in your base, I'm pretty sure. So you'd never even see it before it killed all of your stuff. And you still have no map control. So really, I think you're alive because your opponent is not using his tanks, and also your opponent is not teching. He's still on T1. The thing about making T1 is that if you continue making T1, and you don't use it, it eventually just loses value and it becomes a wasted investment. So if you're spamming T1, you better be doing damage, better be getting good fights, raiding, and your opponent with all of this map control should, well, he could, by the looks of it, just run over you with T1 if he just attack moved everything into your base or just gave a move order into the middle of your base. I think he would be likely dead. And there's a lot of units lurking everywhere, so the only way I can see back into this game would be, if I was playing, is just rushing Harbs as fast as I could. But that's basically the game plan I would have here. Your opponent is just making so much T1. So if you're playing against Aeon, T1 Mantis, Mantis is fine, but you want to have Medusa. So he has some Medusa in, that's pretty good. You can see your opponent has a pretty nice mix. He has some anti-air, he has Medusa, he has Mantis. He could have more Medusa. Now here's another problem. Your opponent is just sending small groups and they keep getting killed and leaving reclaim outside the base. So another thing, you want to keep your army. Your army is more powerful the more concentrated it is. So you can see here now this is dangerous. So if he, but actually the problem is these walls are in the way. So if your opponent concentrated your army and didn't just attack in small groups in all these areas, he could certainly run over you. But as it is, he's just poking and prodding and not actually doing damage to your valuable structures, which is the T2 mexes, and also your commander. And he's leaving reclaim, which you are grabbing. You can see the reclaim count is going up. That's good. That's good. But you need a plan to win the game, not just to survive. So how are you gonna kill what he has, which is all of these mexes, which are just there for free, all of these free T1 mexes. So you need some kind of weapon, and Harbs are the weapons that you need. So you have a lot of mass in the bank now, so you should be making engineers to prepare for a transition, a tech transition. You need to have engineers so you can actually assist and get the transition done in a reasonable time. So you can see you have all these factories assisting this one factory, so you can just select these, queue up your engineers. You can make like 15 engineers, so 5 out of each, and then you get this factory and then you upgrade it, or maybe this one because it's adjacent to a mex, and make this one your tech factory. Have your engineers assist that. Get out a T2 engineer, make a T2 PGen, and also T2 engineers for TMD beside all your mexes, and then you just move to T3, and maybe also make a couple flak as well out of the factory before you go to Tech 3. And then you go to Tech 3, you make Harbs, and Harbs are going to absolutely murder all of this T1 spam. You just have to be careful you don't run into the middle of a massive group of them. But I should really close this. It gives too much info about what's happening. So now you're scouting again. You can see there's some eco on his side, and what you should notice here, you have 2,500 mass. You've had that mass in the bank for a long time, and that's a lot of mass, and that would get you to T3 pretty quick. And so your ACU is kind of just holding mid. Your opponent seems to, well, I think it's the classic problem of lower rate players, and really just players in general, is not knowing how to end the game. And if you're not going to deal a killing blow, then you have to know how to be as safe as possible, and all of this T1 spam is not being as safe as possible. So you have 15,000 reclaim. A lot of that was from mid, but also a lot of it is from all these dead mantis. Should use the control shift command, which shows all of this reclaim. Use it regularly, and it's going to be a huge proportion of your mass income in battles like this where there's a lot of fighting. Reclaim, I'm actually going to bring this back up. So if we look, your reclaim, 16,000 reclaim, 9k for your opponent, 45,000 reclaim total. So that's 1/4 of your mass in this whole game has come from reclaim. That's massive. And I moved, did what I said I wouldn't. Right here, this army should kill you. You should die here. So if you're the red guy, if you have an army like this, you need to just, well, don't do the shift G thing. If you do the shift G thing, which, you know, it's pretty damn strong, you want to do it so you select these guys and you give it to like here, back here, past the enemy commander, and your units will absolutely destroy the commander. Most of them will get in range, and yes, you should have died to this spam a long time ago. You really can't. Well, yeah, this gameplay just really shouldn't work. It's more working as a function of your opponent not doing the right thing, which, you know, is most games at a lower level. It's just filled with mistakes, and just need one person to make the most catastrophic mistake for the game to end. But that doesn't mean you can't learn from it. So yes, let's see what happens. You've made the shield. Shield is great. Very good weapon to have. Well, weapon, defense, extra HP, and we do have harbs. So we have actually moved to harbs, and you can see you got a lot of P-gens up, so you could make the shield, and you had pretty good eco balance while you were doing it. And now we have harbs, and now the game is great for you. Your opponent, you've scouted and you've seen T2 land, and now the game should be yours. So this T1 land spam, although you had far more units than you the entire game, if you don't use them, they eventually become useless. Many advantages in this game are transitory in nature. I do like that word. So over time they just disappear if you don't use them. That's why mechs upgrades are so popular. Oh, beetle drop! Oh my god! But you had too much HP, and I think only 2 of them connected, or maybe 3 in fact. Oh damn, nice try. 3 T1 transports with beetles in them. That was a good attempt. But you have too much HP, and now the T1 land is coming in. But with all these harbs here, you're bringing your units back. That's good. It's tedious, GG. Yes. So victory by tedium. Well, I think both of you can learn a lot from this. I think probably Red can learn more. You ParchedNoob, that was not a good game plan to make eco, but it worked. You really need to you can't allow your opponent to get map control like this. You did have about 100 rating on him, but UnderZero had the much better early game, except for this mid reclaim, which he perhaps wasn't aware of, didn't realize how important it was. But you did eventually make good decisions here by making the harbs, and also this shield commander was quite good. But yes, this this was a loss that just didn't come to fruition. But still, eventually got the win. I think definitely, yeah, we had some crucial error here, which was at the start, which is the main one of the main things to fix would be that power stall at the start was very brutal, and that will cost you games, a lot of games if that happens. And also, yeah, expansion. You got to try expand. I think try out some labs on this map. Don't make only engineers from your first factory. You need to defend against raids with Aurora, and yeah, definitely go for some labs on this map. They're very nice. You can catch a lot of engineers. As I said, it's a map for raiding, and yeah, good game overall. Good reclaiming, very good reclaiming. That was definitely one key feature you can see here. 31,000 reclaim, very good from you. So GG, well played. Hope you learned something. Hope anyone watching maybe learned something. And yeah, any other players want to send me some games to cast and I can just roast you for the whole game, then cool. Send them on. Thanks for watching. See you guys.